Hello and welcome to a new episode of Echelon Talk. My name is Mariana, your host for this show, which will feature different Echelon chapters across the country. For this episode, I want to introduce Christopher Crawford. He is the engagement manager at the Salvation Army Greater Philadelphia. His role is charged primarily with planning and executing special events, recruiting and managing volunteers, and developing promotional items to further the mission of the Salvation Army. Christopher also helped launch the Echelon chapter in Philadelphia and is the staff liaison for the Greater Philadelphia Echelon chapter, where he is known as Echelon's MVP. Welcome to Echelon Talk, Christopher.
Thanks, happy to be here.
Hey, Christopher, we're happy to have you as our guest and learn from you and the Philadelphia chapter. But first, I would like to ask you, how did you begin your journey with the Salvation Army?
It was interesting and definitely not expected. It was on a whim that I moved to Philadelphia several years ago. I won't share the number. And I moved here. It was also in the middle of a career shift, so I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. The last thing didn't work out. So I decided, I guess I'll just start applying to stuff, check out some temp jobs. And I actually was offered a few different roles with organizations that were, I'm sure, wonderful, but didn't quite match my values and what I was trying to do. And I told the folks at the agency, I was like, I really just want to make an impact. I want to do good stuff. And they said, you know what, we've got an opening at the Salvation Army. Here you go. And I almost instantly clicked with the mission of the organization and the people who worked there. And from there, the rest is history. I worked my way up to the role that I'm in now after a couple of different promotions and shifts, and I'm super excited to work with our volunteers and supporters.
That's a great way to phrase it, because I feel like in our generation as millennials, something that's very important to us is to make an impact in something that we do as our job every day. So it's not just a job, it's a combination of a job and a passion. And I hear it from you, and I'm speaking for myself. So I think that's great that you were able to put those together and be in this role.
Definitely, me too.
So Christopher, we know that COVID has a huge impact in every chapter across the country. Can you tell us some ways your chapter has been able to stay engaged with the community despite COVID?
Yeah, we're actually the silver lining of the pandemic, and the fact that we formed during the pandemic, we actually chartered in July of 2021, is that, some operations were already set into place for us to volunteer virtually. I happen to also be our volunteer manager, so it was really easy to set up some virtual opportunities that were still impactful. Echelon's whole reason for coming together is to network and make an impact and, fundraise for the Salvation Army. So we've had folks come together to either write letters to folks in our shelters, a couple other virtual opportunities, and also outdoor opportunities where it's still safe to be together in person. We had them come together to build a Gaga pit outside. That was one of our first big volunteer opportunities for everyone. And it was some really great turnout. And if you don't know what Gaga is, I had to Google it too, so don't worry about it. It's basically just dodgeball, but for the knees down. It's very popular at Salvation Army summer camps, if you're familiar. And we were very thankful that Echelon came together and helped us build that.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's great to hear that despite all these setbacks from COVID, you guys still found a way to connect with the community and have that rapport with them. And now I'm going to shift a little bit, and I want to talk about National Volunteer Week. I know this is celebrated in April, and I would like to hear your take on how volunteers help support the mission of the Salvation Army.
Oh my gosh, we literally couldn't do what we do without the volunteers that we have. I mean, the Salvation Army's army is volunteers, the army behind the army. And, there is really no one who receives our services that isn't touched in some way by volunteer work, whether it's, the folks working in our food pantries to help us pack food, pass that food out, folks during Christmas to ring the bells and collect toys and pass toys out to people in need, all the way up to our board of directors. Echelon is a volunteer opportunity. So literally simply just raising awareness of the group and the impact we're trying to make touches the people who are served. And it's a thrill to be able to work with our volunteers. Happy to celebrate National Volunteer Week. And just thank you. If you volunteer with us or any other organization, thank you.
Yes, it's such a selfless act for people to give up their time and volunteering. And in return, they make such a great impact in their local communities. And Christopher, so if anybody can volunteer at the Salvation Army, is there a website or a link, anything that you want to offer those people that they're interested and they're watching right now and they're interested in signing up to be a volunteer at the Echelon in their area?
Yeah, whether you want to volunteer at one of our facilities or join Echelon yourself, you're welcome to either reach out to me directly. I think my information will be at the bottom of the screen. You can also message us on any social media, Salvation Army Philadelphia, Echelon Philadelphia social media. I have a hand in those as well, so I'll be able to answer you directly there.
Thank you so much, Christopher, for being a guest today and for telling us more about what Philadelphia Echelon chapter is doing. I really appreciate you coming on Echelon Talk.
Thanks, Mariana. Happy to be here.
And if you are interested in learning more, please look at the link below and also the social media handles that Christopher mentioned. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.